Turn this over to Barbara Simons, my colleague. Barbara.
I guess this will work. I'm not going to bother with having slides up because they're not very exciting. I'm going to be exciting, but the slides aren't exciting. So, first of all, I want to thank you guys for coming here and for working on this really, really important issue. I mean, we need to get many more people involved. We need to be able to show that there are major problems with these machines, and I'm hoping that some of you will actually be able to show that with the work we're doing here, so thank you very much. Heretofore, it's been very difficult for independent experts to examine these machines for some of the reasons that David mentioned. The software is proprietary, and some of you guys probably know the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which makes it very difficult to examine software if you don't have permission to do so. So there's been an exception made which allows this to go forward, this hacking village to go forward. Fortunately, that will remain for more than like the next year or two, but they may take it away. So that's another issue. As David said, the testing is totally inadequate. The early testing was even worse. A lot of these machines that are in use, some of the ones that you'll see there, were certified to early testing, where there was no penetration testing. I mean, can you imagine? They had a list of requirements. I mean, can you imagine a major software vendor doing testing by just checking off a list of requirements like single entry, single exit loop, without doing penetration testing? And yet that's what's been done for many of these voting machines. The results are sometimes secret. So even the testing results are secret, and there's a case in California where the then Secretary of State, Kevin Shelley, tried to get the test results from Diebold machines because he was concerned about the Diebold's that were being used in California, and the testing agency said to him, these results are owned by Diebold, and you can't get them from us, you have to get them from Diebold, and of course Diebold would turn them over. So even a very proactive election official who wants to know what's happening, who wants to know the test results, couldn't get them. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how we got here. And the story kind of begins back with Florida 2000, which of course I'm sure, so those of you who aren't old enough to remember what happened have probably heard of it, and some of us are old enough to remember. But what really happened was Florida 2002, because they had more problems in the midterm in Florida also. As a result, the Help America Vote Act was passed in 2002, and it allocated about $3 billion, that's with a B, dollars to replace voting systems. And one of the unfortunate conclusions that a number of people reached from Florida 2000 was that paper is bad. Paper is bad, paperless is good. And in fact, I would go further than that to say that there was also an effort made to, I'm not sure if exploit is the right word, but to manipulate voters with disabilities, because there were people going around saying machines with paper discriminate against voters with disabilities, as if all voters with disabilities had vision problems, and as if there weren't alternatives for people who do have vision problems. So a lot of people felt that to support paper was to be against voters with disabilities, which is a really bad place to be put, I mean, as a policymaker. So that's something else that happened. And of course, all this money was suddenly made available. Election officials wanted to get it, and they wanted to get the newest and greatest shiny object. And not only, so the vendors would say, completely secure, federally certified, we already know what that meant. And of course, they could just touch a button at the end of the day and get the results. And if you're a hardworking election official, that sounds really good. You can go home, you know, at some decent hour of the night, and you don't have to worry. No recount, it's perfect. You're done. So it was very appealing. Plus, there was sort of a gold rush mentality. Everybody wanted to get this newest thing, and besides, they wanted to get the money while it was still there. So there was a big rush to buy machines. And of course, computers had to be introduced. If you're going to go paperless, you need computers. David's already talked a bit about direct recording electronic machines. These are the machines which directly record the vote. So the typical one will show the vote on the screen. You will touch the screen. They weren't all touch screen, but most of them were. You would touch the screen for your candidate, and presumably that information would be stored in the memory of the computer. And initially, most of them were paperless. There were, of course, issues even early on, because if the machines were not properly calibrated, you could have problems. You would have jumping votes where people, and we've seen this a lot in recent elections where they said, I voted for Obama and this other candidate's name, And then people would say these machines aren't secure because I touched the button for candidate A and candidate B's name appeared. But in fact, we don't know if that was insecure or not, because we don't know what happened inside these machines. So it's quite possible they touched the button for candidate A and A was recorded in the machine, or maybe B was recorded in the memory. We don't know, because of course nobody knows. So these machines, on top of everything else, were really badly engineered. I mean, the technology of the touchscreen machine was bad because it had to be constantly recalibrated. They were insecure. The testing was lousy. It was a bad deal all the way around, and yet they were used almost throughout the country. In response, as David said, when the computer scientists and other people, activists started complaining about this, there were retrofits with these voter-verified paper audit trails, which tended to be continuous rolled thermal paper with small font that was hard to read, bad human factors. One of the major vendors recorded every single step that the voter did, which made it very hard to figure out what your final results were. People didn't look at them, and then if you did want to recount them, it was a continuous roll, which is hard to recount, thermal printed, like what you get at a gas station, which can fade in heat. I mean, again, so really badly engineered machines were retrofitted with really bad retrofits. I mean, they were at least consistent. So there were also paper ballot systems. Typically, these are what we call upscan systems, where you have a paper ballot. In California, you connect the broken arrow to decide who you're going to signify who your selection is. Some places, there'll be, you fill in an oval, and then these machines are put through scanners, which of course have computers in them. So there are again problems with the scanners. If they're not calibrated properly, they may, if they're calibrated to be too sensitive, they may pick up stray marks and think that you voted twice, which you're not supposed to do. If they're not sensitive enough, they may miss. So there are calibration problems there too, but the good news is that there are paper ballots. So if there's malware or software bugs or calibration problems, you can find them if you look at the paper ballots. Another advantage, of course, is that with paper ballots, if the scanner is down, people can vote the paper ballots and deposit them in a ballot box for counting later. So it's a way to avoid long lines, although ironically, we've seen in the past couple of elections that sometimes poll workers don't even know you can do that. And so the lines still form because poll workers don't tell voters that they don't have to wait for the scanners. There's another problem, which is that a lot of people don't understand that these things have computers in them. I mean, I'm sure this audience finds that hard to believe, but in fact, people don't understand that the way the scanner works is it's basically a computer. So we saw in Wisconsin, in the recount in 2016 in Wisconsin, that some places did a recount by manually recounting the ballots, which is what a recount is. Other parts rescanned them. They put the ballots back into the scanners, which does not check the computer. I mean, it's sort of a silly exercise, but that's an example of the lack of understanding. So I think I'll talk a little bit about Diebold, because Diebold is the poster child of all that's wrong with these machines. And I have to say, in Diebold's defense, they did have really lousy security, and they did post their software on an OpenFTP website just asking for people to download. I mean, they weren't asking, but they set it up so that it could be downloaded and checked. So yeah, they deserve a lot of what they got. But the fact is, the vendors were all bad. We know that at this point. But anyway, Diebold in 2002 was used in Georgia, in a major Georgia midterm, where both the Senator Max Cleland, and the governor were heading the polls, and they both lost. So we don't know if they truly lost or if there was a problem. What we do know is that there were last-minute changes being made to the software with no oversight. Now, anyone who's worked on a large software project knows that you're always making last-minute changes, until the company releases it, because you're always finding problems. So there could have been very legitimate reasons for these last-minute changes. Or somebody could have decided who they wanted to win. We don't know. And nobody examined the software, and of course that software is long gone. So, and it was paperless. So these machines were used in Georgia in 2002. In 2003, as I said, somebody, actually a journalist, found debug software on an open FTP website and downloaded it, handed it off to some security people at Johns Hopkins and Rice, and they examined that software, and that was the first case where we've had an independent examination done by computer security experts. They found gaping holes. For example, there was a single key to encrypt all the data on every storage device, and it was in the program text. And that key was F2654HD4. That's all you needed. So that was one of the things they found. In 2006, there was another study. Well, there have been a lot of studies. I'm skipping over a lot of material. In the book I wrote, there's a whole chapter on debug. It's kind of interesting. But in 2006, the Princeton team showed how to implant a virus on a debug machine, on these debug machines, so that you could basically rig an election. In fact, they testified before Congress on that, and Felton did. They also noted that the slot which contains the memory card has a lock, and you could open that lock using a standard hotel bar key. And they're pretty standard. So it was also easy to pick, but you didn't have to bother, you just get this bar key. These same machines are in use today in Georgia. They were used for the Georgia CD50 election. Some of you may recall that election. $50 million were spent. This was for a House of Representatives seat. It was the most expensive election ever. And actually, there were some other problems found in Georgia, which I won't go into. One of the people who found them, Logan Lamb, is here. And so when I finish, he's going to come up and just talk a little bit about Georgia, because that's also an interesting story. But these machines are still there, still in use today, and there's no justification whatsoever for their use. So there have been some studies. So you guys are not the first ones to try to look at these machines. There have been a couple of studies that were sponsored by secretaries of state. And David mentioned how he was able to look at something because he was involved with these studies. So in California, the Secretary of State Bowen did what was called a top-to-bottom review, and she required the vendors to produce the machines and the software and all the related material for getting an election set up. And she was only able to do that because of a court case that had happened a few years earlier with Kevin Shelley, an earlier Secretary of State who actually went to court and won. That's the only way she could get these machines. I mean, you wouldn't believe how hard it is for people to get their hands on them. So she basically went to the University of California, and they put together, and some folks put together a team. They examined the security, the documentation, the accessibility. Is the only time that these machines have ever been examined to see how easy they are for voters with disabilities to use. They did badly on everything. And I should mention there's some people here, like Candace Hoke is here, who was one of the people involved with this. Matt Blaze was also. In fact, Matt Blaze had an interesting quote. We found significant deep-rooted security weaknesses in all three vendors' software. It should now be clear that the red teams were successful not because they somehow cheated, but rather because the built-in security mechanisms they were up against simply don't work properly. There was a pervasive lack of good security engineering across all three systems. So as I said, it's not just default. These were two other systems as well, like ES&S, and what was the third one? Was it HART? HART Pacific, yeah. So the red teams were able to break into all of them. That should be inspiration to you guys. The California study was validated by a subsequent study done in Ohio called the Everest study, which also again brought together really good security people. They basically found that they validated everything that was discovered in California, plus they found more problems. This was back in 2006, 2007. And some of these machines are still in use today. They were still used in the 2016 election. To my way of thinking, this is nothing short of a national scandal. In addition, many of the old machines are falling apart. David's already mentioned some of the ancient software that's on them and the fact that it's not even updated frequently, even with our updates, because of the whole certification issue, because then they need to be recertified. So there's a catch-22 on top of everything else. If you want to be conscientious and update your software, then you've got to go through recertification, which could be expensive and time-consuming. So if you don't want to go through that, you don't update. The hardware is also failing. I mean, these machines are just literally falling apart in some cases. And some election officials are having to cannibalize other machines to keep some of the machines going. So election officials actually do want to replace these machines. I mean, this is not a case where we are fighting against election officials. The problem is there isn't money. And so that's another issue, obviously not directly related to DEF CON, but that's something we need to be concerned about. I should just mention that you've all, I'm sure, heard about the long lines in 2012 and 2016. A lot of these were caused by the DREs, the direct recording electronic machines, because unlike paper ballots, you must vote on the machine. If there are some machines that are down, or if there are long lines, a lot of people want coming to the polls at the same time, you have to wait, or not vote and go to work because you can't afford to spend an hour waiting in line. The good news, I mean, Jake talked about how we are under attack, and I agree. I lose sleep over this. And I hope you will too, because we have to fix the problem. But we know how to protect ourselves against hacking. We have the solution, and it's pretty straightforward. We need paper ballots, and we need manual post-election ballot audits to check that the computers that count the paper are working correctly. If we can get that nationwide, we'll be safe from hacking our voting systems. I mean, I'm not talking about the voter registration databases. That's a different issue. We need to take significant steps there to protect those. But if you look at the voting technology itself, paper ballots, manual post-election ballot audits. By the way, you have to randomly select the ballots clearly, because if you don't use randomness, the bad guys will know what you're going to look at, and they won't touch it. They'll just touch the other stuff. And incidentally, a lot of people don't know what random means. Yeah. Sometimes election officials will announce beforehand what they're going to, which precincts or whatever they're going to look at. That ain't random. One of the problems we've had historically is convincing people that this is a problem. Not people like you, but the press, policymakers, election officials. And I've talked to a lot of reporters where they say to me, well, give us an example of an election that was hacked. And the problem is, the beauty of these paperless systems, both these touchscreen voting machines and internet voting, by the way, which I know there's going to be a whole session on that. That's another really dangerous, that's the worst, actually. But the beauty of these systems that don't have paper ballots that were marked by the voters is there's no evidence. It's very, very, very hard to prove that an election has been stolen. Not only because of the lack of evidence, but because of the resistance to looking. We saw that in the 2016 recount, where there was great resistance even to doing recounts of a small number of states. And in fact, the Michigan recount, which Michigan is all paper, was halted by the courts. And of course, most of the country wasn't really adequately examined at all. So in fact, we don't know whether or not the 2016 election was hacked, because nobody's done an adequate study to determine whether or not it was hacked. So going forward, we just can't allow this to happen. We have to fix these systems, and we have to get paper ballots everywhere. So I'll just end with a quote from former FBI Director Comey, which I completely support. They'll be back in 2020. They may be back in 2018. And one of the lessons they may draw from this is that they were successful because they introduced chaos and division and discord, and sowed doubt about the nature of this amazing country of ours and our democratic process. I think they will be back in 2018. There are major midterm elections coming up. There are even important elections coming up in 2017. The governors of New Jersey and Virginia are going to be elected in 2017. And there are a lot of bad machines. Pennsylvania, 80% of Pennsylvania is paperless voting machines that are incredibly insecure. 80%. And this is a major state. We've got to fix that. So thank you for the work you're doing, and thank you for your support. And I would like to see if Logan Van could come up. Talk about Georgia.